Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the MLB slate on DraftKings for Saturday, August the 24th. We're going to look at the Saturday night 12-game slate. Start off with pitching. We'll work our way through the pitcher-player pool. I'll be sure to hit on all the pitchers that I like for today. Then we'll look at three specific hitters I really like. We'll talk about some stacks that I'll be going to. And then towards the end of the video, we will cover some BVP plays for those of you that are interested in BVP. Before we do get started, guys, I would appreciate it if you would drop a like on the video, and if you are new to the channel, make sure you click that subscribe button down below so that way you don't miss out on any of my new videos. But starting off at the top of the pitcher-player pool, Mike Clevinger is our most expensive option on DraftKings. He is $11,800 in a matchup at home against the Royals. So this is a great spot for Clevinger. Clevinger, just as a pitcher, has been very good this year. The strikeout rate is through the roof. He's done really good in this matchup when he's faced the Royals twice this year. He's averaged 30 DraftKings points against them. Clevinger is a top option today. The only downside is that he's $11,800, and there are some good expensive stacks that I really like on this slate. So for that reason, I'm not going to include him in my 5 plays. But if there are lineups where I go with a cheap stack, I think there are some viable cheap stacks today, then Clevinger will for sure be a part of those lineups. If I'm paying up for pitcher, he's going to be the guy that I go to. But I don't feel like you need to pay up all the way to the top for Clevinger when he's nearly $12K, because there are some options like in this $9K range that are very appealing. One guy that I really like is Kyle Gibson. He's someone that really stands out at home against the Tigers. He's only $9K on DraftKings. So this is a great spot for Gibson. Gibson lately has not been good. If you look at the DraftKings game log, it's not very pretty. Has a -2 in there against Cleveland. Only got 4 DK points against Milwaukee, 8 DK points against the White Sox. He's really struggled lately, but this is a great matchup for him facing the Tigers. This Tigers lineup is just so bad versus right-handed pitching, and they do have a ton of strikeouts in their lineup versus right-handed pitching. Gibson's also a very heavy favorite at -311, so should be able to get a win. Right now the Twins have a 6.9 implied run total. They're expected to put up some runs today. Should be able to give Gibson some run support. Gibson was doing really good to begin the year. He had a stretch where he was pitching like at elite levels, was getting plenty of strikeouts, was pitching deep into games. Hasn't been the case lately, but just given this matchup against the Tigers, I think he's going to be a good play today at 9K. Could give you similar production to Clevinger, and he's nearly $3,000 cheaper. So for that reason, I'm going to be rolling with Kyle Gibson today as my SP1. And then for SP2, there's really no clear standout SP2s today, in my opinion. Like, no guy that I feel like I just have to have that just clearly stands out. One of the guys, though, that I do like is Kobe Allard. He is $7,800 on DraftKings. He gets a matchup with the White Sox. This is a very favorable matchup, especially for strikeouts. This White Sox lineup is towards the top of the league in terms of strikeout rate. Versus left-handed pitching, there are some strikeouts in this lineup as well. Guys like Moncada, even though they're batting right-handed, even though the White Sox do have a lot of righties, these are still righties that will strike out. Moncada's much better when he bats left-handed, so batting right-handed, he's not as good batting right-handed. You get a lot of strikeouts from guys like Jimenez. Then you have like lefties down there at the bottom with John Jay and Skull, who will both strike out. Yomer Sanchez will K some. So I do like Colby Allard a lot today. The 5 implied run total for the White Sox isn't going to scare me off of him. I think he gives you a lot of upside in this matchup. So far this year, he's made 3 starts with the Rangers. All 3 of the matchups have been pretty tough. Had to face the Brewers in Miller Park. Had to face the Angels, a pretty tough team that doesn't strike out. Had to face the Blue Jays as well, which is not the easiest matchup. Now he finally gets a pretty cupcake matchup against the White Sox. I think we can expect a good start out of Colby Allard. So I like going to him at $7,800 as my SP2. If you put him in there at SP2, that still leaves you $4,150 remaining for your hitters. So should be easily able to work around these 2 pitchers. But we'll talk about some of the other pitchers on this slate before we move on to bats. So just going back to the top, like guys like Bumgarner, Wheeler, Lamet, I don't think I'm going to really be playing today. If I'm going to be paying $10K and above, if I'm going to be going to the top of the pitcher-player pool, I'm just going to spend all the way up for Clevinger. And then guys like Lamet, Gallen, Miley don't have much interest in because I just prefer to roster Kyle Gibson in that 9K range. Bassett's in a pretty favorable matchup with the Giants, but He's 9,600, and I would just rather save the $600 and play Gibson, who's in a much more friendly strikeout matchup. But then looking for like cheap value, guys that you could maybe consider that are cheaper than Colby Allard. You can maybe go to a guy like Austin Pruitt, depending on how deep he's going to pitch into this game. Right now, he is listed as the starter on DraftKings for the Rays in a matchup with the Orioles. Very favorable matchup, very good matchup for strikeouts, and he's only 7,200, so he could potentially be a value play you look to. Going like for really cheap value, maybe a guy like Trevor Williams at only 5,800 could be in play. Chase Anderson at 6K as a value. These are just really cheap guys that at least give you some potential to get 15 to 20 DK points. Edwin Jackson I'm not going to. Chichi Gonzalez probably won't go to. And Glenn Spartman I'm not a fan of. But if you do want to go cheap at pitcher, I think Chase Anderson and Trevor Williams would probably be the two guys I would look to for value. But I think we pretty much covered all the pitchers I'd like for today. Let's go ahead and talk about some bats. The team I want to start off with is the Twins. The Twins are going to be a team I try and stack up as much as possible today. One of the reasons I didn't pay up for Clevenger is because I wanted to get Twins bats in there versus Edwin Jackson, and they are very expensive. But right now they have a 6.9 implied run total. This just looks like a great spot for the Twins. I'm going to be trying to fit in as many of these bats as possible, like I said. Two guys I really like, starting off at third base. I like Miguel Sano a ton. Even at 5K, I think he's worth the price tag today. And then I like spinning up in the outfield for either Max Kepler or Eddie Rosario. Right now, I'm going to put Rosario in there, but if Rosario is not in the lineup, he did not play on Friday night. Right now, he's listed as day-to-day. If he doesn't play on Saturday, then you can just pivot to Kepler, who's only $100 more. But I like Sano and Rosario a ton. These are two of the better power bats in the Twins lineup. I'm just going to be looking to all the Twins power bats that I can. So Kepler, Polanco, Cruz, Rosario, Sano, Mitch Garver, those are the guys I really like from the Twins because they do have a lot of power. Edwin Jackson will give up home runs to both sides of the plate. He's made 3 starts this year with the Tigers. 2 of them have been pretty good. His last start against the Astros was not great. When he was with the Blue Jays, he was terrible. He was a guy that we always look to stack against. But in the 3 starts with the Tigers, he's faced the Royals, the Mariners, and the Astros. The 2 starts against the Royals and Mariners were pretty good. In his last start against the Astros, not great. 5 innings, allowed 7 hits, 5 runs, 4 walks, did get 6 strikeouts. This is a guy that I'm just going to look to stack against every time he's on the mound. I love the Twins here. The Twins are one of the better hitting teams in the league. And now they get to face Jackson at home. Just such a favorable spot. So Miguel Sano, Eddie Rosario, 2 of the power bats from the Twins lineup, I like a lot here versus Edwin Jackson. Then another team I'm going to be keying in on is the Indians, 6 implied run total against Glenn Spartman. One of the value bats I like in the Indians lineup is Greg Allen. Right now, Fantasy Labs has him projected to bat second, and if he is batting second, I think he has a pretty good value at 3,700. This is a guy that doesn't have much power, just a few home runs on the year, just 4 home runs on the year, but he does have some speed. If he gets on base, he can steal bases. Spartman, I'm pretty sure he's pretty bad at holding runners. He will allow stolen bases, and he will also give up home runs. Although Allen isn't much of a power bat, Spartman will give up home runs to everybody. So I like Allen a lot here as a value play. Whether you're stacking the Indians or you just want to play him as a cheap one-off, or if you're using mini stacks or Indians mini stacks, Greg Allen batting second, I like a lot as a cheap outfielder that you can consider. Spartman's just been getting killed by lefties this year. So Lindor, Allen, Santana are all really good plays. Jose Ramirez, Jason Kipnis are great plays. And then you have guys with power like Puig and Reyes. Both are pretty cheap as well. The Indians are a very favorable stack, and their pricing is pretty nice as well. Not too many expensive hitters in that lineup. You got 5 guys under 4K, and then you have 3 guys over 5K. So you can make that stack work, probably with Clevenger, to be honest, because they do give you a lot of value. But anyways, these are my 5 plays today. For DraftKings, guys, let's go ahead and look at some stacks, and then we'll talk about some BVP before we end the video. So 2 of my favorite stacks today are going to be the Twins and the Indians. Not really going out on a limb. Those are 2 of the teams that stand out to me. Obviously, their implied run total is very high, but I think the spot's just too good facing Edwin Jackson and facing Glenn Spartman. So I love the Twins. I love the Indians. Some other teams you can maybe consider. Astros are in a pretty good spot versus Dylan Peters. It's just really hard to fit them in because of how expensive they are. But they do have Abraham Toro in the projected lineup, and he is 3,400. So he could be a value play you could go to. Robinson Chirinos is a cheap catcher you could play. Yuli Gurriel's price tag is down a bit to 4,600. So you could definitely consider the Astros. I don't think they're going to be at the top of my list, though. If I'm going to spend up for a stack, it's definitely going to be the Twins today. But there's not really a ton of other stacks that stand out to me. Like, I think the Twins and Indians are in a great spot. I think you can definitely consider some Rays versus John Means. The Rays are a team that give you a lot of value. Right now you have, looks like 5-6 guys in the projected lineup, all under 4K. Duffy, 3,300. Adames, 3,900. Aguilar, 36. Brosseau, 37. Zunino, 31. Heredia, 33. Really good value in that Rays lineup. It's going to be pretty interesting to see what their implied run total is once it gets out there. But I do like the Rays as a potential value stack. If you're paying up for Clevenger today and you need a cheap offense, the Rays are for sure a team you can look to for value. But I think that's it for stacks today, guys. Let's go ahead and look at some BVP real quick before we end the video. So starting off with Ronald Acuna, he's gone 5 for 12 with 2 home runs off Zach Wheeler. Freddie Freeman has also hit Wheeler really well, 14 for 26 with 2 home runs. And Josh Donaldson's also gone 8 for 13 off Wheeler. A lot of these Indians have hit Spartman well. Mercado's gone 5 for 10. Jose Ramirez has gone 4 for 10 with 2 home runs. And Lindor's gone 7 for 13 with 2 home runs. And then lastly, you got Jorge Soler, who's gone 8 for 14 off Mike Clevenger. And I think that's pretty much it. Marwin Gonzalez got some decent BVP off Edwin Jackson, 4 for 11 with the home run. Nelson Cruz, 6 for 16 off Jackson. But that's it for BVP, guys. And I think that is it for this video. Hopefully you did enjoy the video. Hopefully this video did help you. If you enjoyed, make sure you drop a like down below before you get out of here. I would really appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you have not already. NFL is slowly approaching. I'm going to be pumping out a ton of NFL content soon as we get closer to week 1. So you're going to want to make sure that you are subscribed. I think it's going to be a great NFL season. I'm very excited. These week 1 contests just around the industry are huge. I'm just very excited to see if I have a chance to take down one of those top prizes. It's going to be a great week 1, I feel like. So make sure you are subscribed for those NFL videos that are coming out soon. Going to continue to be pumping out MLB videos daily. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you drop a like, subscribe if you did enjoy the video, and we will see you in the next one. Peace.